Hi, and welcome to the Dr. Drum video tutorials. In this episode, we're going to get into more advanced beat-making techniques within the Dr. Drum application. I already have a project open that I'm going to continue working with. If you haven't already created a few of your own simple beats, try some out using the basic beat-making tutorial as your guide. You can see I already have a few beat regions laid out on my arranged tracks. There's a couple tracks each of drums, bass, and keyboard instruments. Let's turn on loop mode and listen to what I have built. That sounds pretty good, but it is a bit repetitive. After all, it is only one bar long. In the bottom control bar, you'll notice there is a bar count box. By adjusting the bar count, I can vary the length of my project. If I type the number 2 and hit enter, you'll see my timeline now shows an arrange area for 2 whole bars. You'll notice the beat regions are now half as wide as they were before, but not to worry, the beat regions didn't actually get shorter, the timeline just got longer. As my existing beat regions were only 1 bar long, they were simply scaled in size on the arrange area accordingly. Let's extend the project further to 4 bars long, so we can add some variation to it and make the beat more interesting. When you change the length of your beat project, don't forget to adjust your loop points if you want to. I'm going to leave mine where they are for now, but later on I'll adjust them to loop the entire song. Now that I have some more space to work with, I want to fill it out with a beat. I could draw in some new beat regions here, but I probably want my drums to stay the same or similar for at least a few more bars, if not the whole length of the song. The Move tool not only lets you move your regions along the timeline, or from track to track, but it also lets you copy the regions as well. By holding Shift while you click and drag a region, when you release the beat region, instead of simply moving it, it will create a copy. Looking inside the 2 beat regions, you can see the rhythms and instruments are identical. You can also move and copy multiple beat regions at one time. Holding down the Control key or Command key on a Mac lets me click and select multiple beat regions at one time. You can always see which beat regions are currently selected by the white borders surrounding the box. While the multiple regions are highlighted, I can click and drag them to move them all together, or I can hold Shift while I click and drag to copy them all at once. This gives you a quick and easy way to extend and rearrange your beats. Using the Move, Copy, and Erase tools, you can build and arrange more complex, dynamic songs at this higher level by working with the beat regions themselves. Now that your project is growing more complex, it would be nice to be able to hone in on or tune out certain parts of your beat, giving better control and focus to the beat-making process. You can do this with the mute and solo buttons assigned to each track. It may be somewhat obvious what these buttons will do, but let's click play and see for ourselves. Clicking on the letter S for solo will cause only that track to play back. Only one track can be soloed at a time. If you want to temporarily remove parts from the mix, clicking the letter M will mute the track. You can mute as many tracks as you need to at a time, which helps you focus in on any particular group of instruments you need. The mute and solo buttons are also found on each of the corresponding audio mixer tracks. So far, we've copied and arranged some of the beat regions to extend and vary the song. Once the regions have been copied, you can edit each one individually to fine-tune your beats and mix it up with some additional variation. I'm just going to hop right into this drum region and edit its rhythm sequence. I'll just make a few quick tweaks here. Now I'll go into this keyboard region and tweak the melody. Listening back to the entire beat, you can hear that it now evolves over time and has a more dynamic shape. Still, the song has a kind of blocky feel, and you can tell that it's made up of short, repeating bits. That's really because so far all of our beat regions have only been 1 bar long. Dr. Drum lets you create beat regions that extend across multiple bars, so you can create longer, more complex melodies or rhythms in one pass. To create a longer beat region, click and hold down the pencil tool while dragging your mouse to the right. As you drag it all the way to the end of a bar, you can see that it will extend the length of the region. I'm just going to drag it all the way across the timeline and release it, creating a beat region 4 bars long. Assigning it to a keyboard instrument and going inside the region to the instrument subscreen, you can see we have many more sequencer blocks to work with across a longer timeline. By creating a multi-bar beat region such as this one, I can write melodies and rhythms of greater length and complexity. I'm just going to come up with a quick melody here. And perhaps I'll choose a different sound kit. Let's hear how this sounds all together. I think you'll agree that's sounding better and better. Now that we've expanded our beat, let's see if we can't refine it a little bit. In Dr. Drum's audio mixer, we have the ability to control the tone, level, and stereo position of our individual tracks. You can see I've already done a little bit of adjusting on the volume level of my existing tracks. I think I'll bring my new melody down a bit in level so it sits better within the mix among the other tracks. Each track has its own equalizer to adjust the high, mid, and low tone. Don't worry if you don't fully understand what these controls do. It's easy to hear their effect on the instrument itself. Let's focus on the bass instruments for a moment, using the solo button. I'll just quickly adjust my loop region to where the bass is continuously playing. Perhaps I want to boost the low frequencies to give it a little more bottom end and impact. I'll just increase the low tone control by clicking it and dragging it to the right. I could make it sound even more bass focused by bringing down the high and mid frequency tone controls by dragging them to the left. There, that's really dulled down the instrument and given it a more bassy feel. This will also create some extra space in the higher frequency range for my keyboards and melody to shine through. Let's go back and listen to it with the rest of our beat. I can use the pan control to spread out my sounds across the stereo field. If I click and drag the pan dial to the left, the sound will appear more in the left side of the speaker or headphone, and vice versa. By panning different tracks to varying degrees and directions, I can add another layer of dimensionality and styling to my beats. Let's look at another way we can use all of these new techniques to enhance our beat. Here in track 1, I have my main drum beat. Let's solo and take a listen. I think I want to give the kick drum some more impact and control. I could simply adjust the volume of the individual drum samples within the instrument subscreen, but I bet you can think of a better way using the new advanced tools we just learned. I'm going to select one of the drum regions and shift drag it to a new track to create a copy of the beat. You can see it copied the drum instrument to that new track as well. First, I'll go into the original set of beat regions and delete my kick drum rhythm. Instead of going inside each of the beat regions in that track, I'll just erase the old regions and copy the new edited region across the timeline to save some time and effort. Now, in the copied region in the new beat track, I'm going to erase everything except the kick drum. And once I'm finished, I'll go back to the Arrange window and copy the beat region across the timeline. You can see I've quickly separated out my kick drum sound to its own track, which I can now manipulate with not just my volume but also my tone and pan controls to get the kick sound and mix that I want. I'm just going to tweak these controls until I'm happy with how it sounds. There are many, many ways to use these advanced techniques and tools to create and improve your beats. How you use them is only limited by your imagination. That's all for this tutorial. Feel free to visit the Dr. Drum members area for more information and tutorials. And thanks for watching.